Welcome back to PGI, where I'm going to be joined with a few great guests this evening. Since this is the last show of the season, I want to thank Cam for giving me the opportunity to be able to interview these wonderful guests and um, get another perspective, especially right after the games happen. I think that's very special. So I want to thank you, Cam, so much for giving me the space to do this. But we're going to start off everything with Mr. Robert Thump, co-owner of the Washington Trident, that have been doing amazing this year. The number 2 seed just got it because Albuquerque lost. Man, you got to be on cloud nine right now.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I'm happy for is like the guys that we brought over from Motor City, right? And guys that either their team folded or they were cut from last year, right? We had 2 guys that brought over in that situation too. So I'm happy for them that they can come over and we can, kind of do something this season.
Definitely. Last game you played was Pittsburgh, 38-17.
Yeah.
One of the many teams, that you guys had a large margin victory over. So did you expect for the Washington Trident to be this successful their first season out the gate?
Well, I don't think it was this season, right? The first season, right? When I went over to what was Motor City, it came over. I said we go 500. We didn't do it. But I said give us 2 or 3 seasons, and everybody that was with that team then bought into that, right? We had some offseason moves. A lot of people go for, reasons that they chose to make poor decisions on. And we upgraded every offseason. All you want to do is get better, right? You want to try and get better and keep the guys you have as the core guys. Thankfully, everybody bought in, moved a few people around, and we were able to pull it all together. So we're fortunate to be here. If I could tell you at the beginning of the season, I thought we were going to be the 2 seed going to the playoffs behind Baltimore. Probably not. Did I think we'd make playoffs? For sure, right? So I thought we'd be somewhere around here, but 10-2 with the biggest turnaround in SFL history, tied for it, right? With Santa Fe from season 7. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. So, fortunate for sure.
Definitely. What were some of the toughest opponents that you had this season? Kind of like looking in hindsight.
I mean, all our opponents are tough, right? It's in the SFL for a reason, right? We're a new franchise. We brought over Albert again, who has that experience, but still, you're a new franchise. You don't really know how it's going to shake out, right? Last year we went 3-9. It could have been anything, right? We could be 6-6 right now, and not even in. So I think they're all tough. The road games are a little bit harder, I think, than the home games, right? But there's no opponent I go look at the schedule and say, hey, we're going to win when the schedule release came out, right? I said we're going to put up our best one and go from there. I wanted to win the first one because it was versus y'all, a division opponent, right, who just went to the Final Four last year. And it was setting the tone for us for our season going forward. And it was our first home game and our only primetime game before both city game got flexed in. So there's certain games I wanted more than others, but there was no game or no opponent I said that's a win on day one.
Okay. What do you say to those? Because I've kind of been hearing this rumbling too.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to those who feel like the schedule wasn't it was an easy schedule that you guys had, and that was the secret.
Did you see our first 6 games? Did you see our first 6 games? Yeah. So
you got people that still think that. So I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to appease everybody, and I'm not here to. I'm only here to win the games that are put in front of us and keep pushing, right? So they can say what they say, they can think what they think, and that's fine. Unless you're Baltimore, the road comes through Washington. So we'll find out if we play or if we don't play.
What do you feel? So Baltimore could be your next opponent.
They'll be our last opponent.
So if we
play them, it'd be a Super Bowl if we get that far.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in hindsight, what have you learned this season that you probably didn't realize when you were a part of Motor City?
I don't think I realized how much everybody trusts me to just put together. The guys on the roster, the team, we were building a culture, right? We're building everybody in, but literally I've had everybody in the roster go, hey man, whatever you need, just let me know. Whether it's helping with player builds, the cap to stay around the right numbers, right? To ensure we're building for not just this season, but for the future as well, right? Not to and all that. So I think just the amount of just trust and faith there is of like, hey, it's going to work out. I think that kind of blew me away a little bit. Ownership wise, I don't know. I kind of already saw it from being an ACA, right, with Albert and Yayo. They taught me a lot, and I learned as much as I could from them, and then went to Motor City and learned more, and then now here, and I have help in Diggs and Shane and Albert and Drew with the GM and all these other guys. So I don't know, other than that, I really don't know what's different in that aspect, right?
Okay, new pieces, maybe a change of scenery, maybe it's something.
Yeah, I think a relocation helped, right? Rebrand helped, right?
Yeah.
So it probably give it a new fresh breath, right? Give it a new fresh breath, but all the pieces were already here, right? 99% of the roster we maintained, which I'm super proud of. But all in all, I'm happy with where we're at for sure, and just keep going for next season and this rest of this season too.
And you also, to end things off, you also have some other great news that was introduced, and I'm so happy.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a little baby girl who was born on Monday at like 10:23 in the morning, and then Tuesday night Monday night, wife was sleeping in the hospital bed, and I was running Sims, and because she was sleeping and the baby was awake, right? So I got a picture of her with her first smile, sitting there while I'm running Sims, and she's over there smiling. So yeah.
She already know.
She already knows. So yeah.
That's gonna be the next offensive lineman, probably a wide receiver. She already know.
I'll have to figure out. I'll have to figure out all the off season, right? Go get like, hey, we need a strong safety. Who's coming over?
I love it. Well, congratulations on your beautiful baby girl. I would personally love to see pictures, so you can just DM those.
I got you.
But,
I got you.
Congratulations on being a new father. Congratulations on your accomplishments this season. And I think that would probably top everything if you were able to take home a ring too. So
good luck out there. I mean, that would be insane, right? That's the goal every season, right? But to go from from what 2 seasons ago, 2 wins, 1 win, something like that, to last season 3 wins, to doubling the total amount of wins in 1 season, to being in the conversation even before is awesome. But it's not done yet, so we got a lot of work ahead of us.
Indeed. Well, good luck to you for the rest of the season and in playoffs.
Thank you. Appreciate it, AJ.
Welcome back to PGI, where I am joined with my good friend, Mr. DJ. Jesus, why? It's not Kilganon.
How about I say it and then you say it after?
Okay.
All right, DJ Kilganon.
I don't know why that's Kilganon. DJ Kilganon.
You got it. You got it.
I don't know why I can't get it.
I get it. The spelling's a little weird. I understand.
One of these days. But welcome back to the show, man. And looks like you guys had a terrific showing against Indy. I mean, they did not score 8 points, 23 to nothing. So what happened, man? Like
our defense just showed up. You know, it was a good one. We held them to 8 first downs. I think that was something that really was just really a key mark of it. I mean, they just couldn't get going at all. We were pressure. They got a rookie QB. We were pressuring him a lot. We knew that going in that we were going to want to do that. I think he was around 30% for completion percentage. So he was feeling real pressured back there. And our secondary showed up. They were making all the right plays, hitting the receivers when they needed to. It was great. Everything clicked.
And, it feels good, especially, you're not making it to the playoffs, but it feels good to actually go out with a win. So, you have a good gauge for next season. Speaking of next season, it looks like you have had your promotion, sir.
Yes, I did. So I think everybody knows by now that Doug is leaving Chicago. So with that, Mike and Ty, they asked me if I wanted to step up, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good to me. So, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna try and get some new people in, But what I'm most excited for is, in my opinion, I feel like this league is what's a good way to put this? Everyone kind of runs the sort of same thing, no one's too far out there. You know what I mean? There's what's going to work, and if you don't do that, you're out of luck. And I think Chicago, the offense especially, is the most unique team in the league. And we pass about every play. I mean, in our last game, Ty had more rushing yards than anyone in the game. And, it's a uniqueness that I really enjoy, and I think it's something it's exciting to watch, when your QB scrambles and he's spinning around people and breaking tackles. It's just fun football. You know what I mean? And I love being a part of it. I love being a part of something different. And I think trying to carry a culture that we're trying to build is going to be exciting.
And working through the tumultuous seasons, of not winning as many games that you initially set out for, or things just not playing in your favor, you're still having the patience and the resilience to bounce back and overcome those challenges, even at the end. That's important.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to stay resilient. You can't give up.
Absolutely. So as your new GM, what will be what will make you stand out amongst the other GMs that are in the league?
Well, plenty of people have connection to the minor leagues, and a lot of people don't think much of the minor leagues. But I think the minor leagues it's the future. I mean, there's rookies that are going to come up and play in the league, and I think that having a good connection with those guys is very important. I call a lot of games in the SFLM. I did this season. I think I called 18 out of the 25 games in the SFLM.
Yeah.
And I'm super active down there trying to get to know everybody. Yeah, I love talking to those guys down there. I mean, you've had ADS on your show a couple times. I love that dude. So good to talk to. We've had some great chats. Everybody down there is great people, and they're bringing in a whole bunch of new teams. It's only going to get better. So I think my connection with those guys down there is something that I can really bring some upside to Chicago.
Love it. I love it. Well, DJ, you have definitely made your mark in the league, from you arriving, being an integral part of the broadcast. I've seen you step in when people didn't show up or they couldn't make it, and you just came right in and filled in. You were a vital part of the SFLM broadcaster. So it only makes sense that they saw the value that you bring and promoted you. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I do wish you the best. Now, what's the future of Chicago look like, in your opinion?
Well, I won't say too much, but we're losing a lot of pieces this season. But okay. I think we're going to be able to rebuild okay. I think if people think we're different this season, you have no idea. We are about to be easily the most unique team in the league with some things we're going to do on offense and defense. I mean, we're going to try something new. It's either going to work out and we're going to look like geniuses, or it's not and we're going to look like dummies. So, I mean, we're going to see. But I got faith. That's why I'm staying. You know what I mean?
Indeed. And sometimes it takes you to think outside the box in order to be successful.
Absolutely.
So I wish you guys the best.
And
I do. Yeah, I wish you the best in finding all the pieces that you need to replace who will be leaving. And if you need some help, some advice, man, I got you. All right?
I will keep that in mind. Thank you.
Indeed. Well, good luck to you. Next season, I want to see y'all to the play. Stump you a little bit.
What you mean? No, I was trying to think. I was like, that's a great question.
All right, and welcome back to PJ, where I am joined last interview of the evening, Mr. Eddie Gage. Welcome back to PGI, where I am joined with fellow co-owner as well as Welcome back to PGI, where I am joined with my last interview of the evening, Mr. Eddie Gage. He is right. Welcome back to PGI. My last interview of the season will end with co-owner Mr. Eddie Gage. How are you doing, Eddie?
Bittersweet win. Beat the defending champs, but out the playoffs.
24-20. And the way Arizona played tonight, we would have definitely been in the playoffs and deep in contention if that was how we were playing the entire season. But it seemed like we had the answers tonight, and even like the last few seconds of the game, scoring Will Todd scoring a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back through that whole scenario in your mind, like when we were lining up, it was first and goal, and we had 4 chances to get the ball, and just to get the ball over the goal line. And for whatever reason, things just went kind of weird. So go through that with us.
Reminded me of a scenario early in the game where Everett Garrison got a pick, and I thought it was a pick six, but he tried to get cute and got tackled at like the half-yard line. I said, if this comes back to bite us, he going to do push-ups until I get tired of watching him. And sure enough, we got stopped on 3 straight running plays, which is just typical of this season for us, just inefficiency in the red zone and turnovers, but had to settle for 3. And I thought about that same situation again. I think we're going to have a chance to win in the winning moments. And third down, we didn't get in. And I think we're about to bring out Clutch Cliff for the game time field goal, get ready for overtime. And I was driving home from work. And so I heard them say we were going from like, wait, what? And I looked at my phone like, oh my God, here we go. But, I was happy to see Will, of all people, get that touchdown because he's done so much and sacrificed for this team so much over the seasons, and he continues to come back in. So to see him get that game-winning touchdown was fantastic.
Indeed. So hindsight is 2020. Looking back on the season, what do you know for sure that there are things that you did right? And what are things that you know that you did wrong that you'll be changing for the season without giving too much away, of course?
I was proud of the fact that we came into this game number 1 in third down efficiency. I was proud of the way our defense played all season long, despite not having necessarily the turnovers. Overall, we played great as a unit. But I think in the end, although we finished with the top 10 run game and efficient passing game, just our inefficiency in the red zone, and I think we finished second most turnovers given up, surrendered, is a recipe for disaster. And I don't care how good or efficient your offense is. If you give up that many turnovers, you're not going to win many ball games. And we were lucky to finish 6-6, just knowing that fact that we had so many turnovers. So this offseason, I got to continue to build up on our strengths of our solid defense and solid run game and somewhat of an efficient passing game. But I gotta clean up those turnovers and make it so there's not so much on our quarterback's shoulders, so to speak, to win games. And if I can keep a balanced offense and continue to play solid defense, create more turnovers and throw less of them, I think we'd be fine.
Indeed. So, Coach, what are you going to do at this time? Like, normally you'd be preparing for your next opponent, or you'd be taking a breath to kind of, waiting a week before your next opponent comes up. So, how are you going to be spending this time?
I couldn't sleep. Woke up at like 3:30 this morning. Sat in bed till about 4:30. And got up and just started looking at different playbooks to use for next season. Because I just was so dejected. Felt like I let the team down. And just trying to get better.
Indeed. One thing I will recommend you do, Coach, is to rest. At least take some give your mental a rest, give your physical a rest, and then you can come back refreshed, because I already knew that you probably wasn't gonna let it go. Even though we were out of it, you was going to be running sims. You was going to be tinkering with something. So, and that's one of the things that I do appreciate about you, your tenacity, your refusal to give up, and I like the fact that it bothers you because it will motivate you to change things and turn things around for us next season. And I tell you what, our performance against Mexico definitely showed that we still have the right pieces. We still have the fight. It's just about putting those little things together. We'll be back. So appreciate you, Coach. And is there any other wise words that you want to leave with the people? The last interview for PGI for season 24.
Congratulations on everybody who made it. Everyone who didn't, I'm sure just keep grinding. And looking forward to seeing these off-season moves by these teams like LA. I know they got some announcements to make, and can't see what they do to try to turn their fortunes around. And some things that haven't been made public yet, just waiting to see how SFL Nation reacts to all of that. And approach season 2025 with a renewed and refocused mindset to go out there and stack W's and get back to the playoffs where we belong. It's not right with us not being in there.
Definitely feels weird. DJ had a milestone that he hit tonight too, didn't he?
Yeah, he a couple of them, 14,000 career rushing yards and I believe 90 rushing touchdowns. So congrats to him. He better get that call real soon for Cam. I'm coming looking for him. You hear that, Cam? Do that man right.
Hall of Fame nod indeed. Well, Coach, thank you so much for all you do. We'll see you next season.
Peace.
Peace.
And thank you, Ashley Jackson, for the lead up as we are getting set and ready for the finale of the SFL's 24th regular season. It is the Minnesota Legend taking on the Sin City Samurai in Vegas. Chris Curtis alongside Tyler Falk with you for the next little while as we get you set and ready for the last game of the season with tons of playoff implications. Tyler, how you doing?
Surprise! Yeah, we get not just halftime and post, but we get pregame. What is this madness? Again, it was a spectacular day of football yesterday. I am ecstatic. Yesterday was just all good. I went out and played golf, shot in 86. One of my best rounds in a while. That's why I'm wearing a golf shirt. Anyway, I digress. We're talking about playoffs. Yes, playoffs in Sin City. Exactly. In Sin City, on the edge of either making the postseason or eliminating themselves and promoting Florida, who went from, I think it was 8% of a chance or 16% of a chance to make the playoffs coming into this week, or just coming in through the after the Saturday scenario show, all the way now to they stand between this game. Does Minnesota put the Sin City Samurai away with one of the best offenses on the road, or do the Sin City Samurai shut down the Legend with one of the best defenses at home?
That is a really good question. If Sin City makes it, they will take on Albuquerque in the first wild card matchup on Saturday. If the Legend make it, Sin City's out. It's very simple. For the Samurai, it's win and in for those guys, in Minnesota has a chance to definitely play spoiler and get themselves a home playoff game as well with a win. That said, I think what we need to do is we need to break down this matchup and take a look at one Haynes' vision for the finale of the regular season, starting, of course, with the Minnesota Legend. And the Legend will get us started on a very good season. Central Division 7-4, all told, as they go through, and they're led by that man right there, Johnny Reno.
Yeah, Johnny Reno, again, we're going to talk about both these quarterbacks, and while they don't have the most flashiest numbers, they are efficient and dynamic when it comes to getting points. Both are tied at 7th in terms of touchdowns. Johnny Reno finds a couple of his crucial targets, that being E.J. Minson and Jay Taylor. More often than not, Jay Taylor, the 23rd ranked receiver in the league, and we see him there getting a catch over Arizona just a few weeks ago. Again, phenomenal numbers from Minson, 5 touchdowns on 37 receptions. in a very, again, not the most flashy numbers from him either, just under 600 total yards. But again, the legend work in pairs. They work in tandem. And if it's not Vincent, it's that man, Jay Taylor, who gets on in a couple of only 50 receptions. He leads the team, and he only has 2 touchdowns. It just shows you the brevity of work and the amount that Reno trusts his targets all around the football field.
Yeah, and you take a look at the running back situation in Minnesota. They're led by the league's leading rusher, one Colin Hart. He has been good all season long. His average is it tops in the SFL, and his total yards, number 1 as well, over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, what else can't be said about Colin Hart? He'll be the second player in SFL history tonight if he just gets only a couple yards to reach the 18,000 yard rushing mark. And that will be something to say. And then you talk about this Minnesota defense, right? Yeah. And they are nasty, especially around the middle of the field. You cannot go anywhere without talking about the middle linebacker, Matthew Alvarado, who will get into quarterbacks and halfbacks' heads early with leading the league in TFLs.
Yeah, he's been very good. And then the secondary's been good as well. They have a duo of Meerkats out there, Derek and Angela, that have made a bunch of waves in the secondary for Minnesota. You can take a look at Derek right there.
3 interceptions, 8 pass deflection, a forced fumble flying here, there, and everywhere. And he just lurks there in center field. And if it's not him, you just look for Daniel Wright as well, who will come away with everything, if not more. He was going to fight tooth and nail to get to the backfield alongside Angela Meerkat as well. Leading the league in sacks with 10, and one of a couple of the linemen coming into this week with 10 sacks. But of course, you can't go anywhere else but looking for the ever dangerous defensive end.
Yeah, exactly. And you saw in that sack, I mean, the amount of effort he takes on every single snap to not fight until the whistle goes, or to keep fighting until the whistle goes, I should say. And obviously got the sack there, but that's just a small sample size of what Daniel Wright's been able to do on that defensive line for Minnesota. Talking about their opponents this evening, they come out of the home corner. It is the Sin City Samurai with their game on the line. Or with their season on the line. It's winning in for these guys. West Division 6-5 record. They need a win to keep their season alive, and they are led by that man right there. How about Scar Patterson, who's been good all season long?
Yeah, over 200 yards a game, just over 50% completion percentage. When he is called on, he delivers. He's not one to be too flashy, but when he has to take the top off like he does here to Al Dilpree Sr., who is, again, one of his leading targets, he's able to do so. Close to 800 yards, 8 touchdowns, with a long of a 72-yard reception where we saw it there against Pitt. That's the one thing you cannot let Patterson do. You cannot let him find the holes in the zone. And we take a look at these ever dangerous halfbacks, Logan Lee and Rojo, 2 of the best in the business, both over 140 rushes, both with 3 touchdowns. And it's just with these bruising runs. It's something that the Sin City franchise is known for, ground and pound, and they're going to play no holds barred tonight.
Robert Johnson, your physical back. Logan Lee has the speed to outrun just about everybody in the SFL, including the second level here as Lee gets into the end zone. But Sin City, I mean, when their running game is going, they are really, really hard to stop. And then on top of that, you have Scar Patterson, who's been very good as well. But then we talk about their defense, and we talk about one Mark Gronick, who has been real good all season long as well. 1 sack, 15 tackles for loss, along with 3 interceptions.
And it's a good, this emphasizes the really nice thing I like about Sin City's defense. He's playing middle linebacker, but they schemed him over on that play to play more on the right side. You'll see Sin City move around those linebackers, just trying to understand and fight off these little weaknesses and chinks in the offensive line. And then of course, when they can get to your head, they will force mistakes. And Kanye Rockefeller's been doing it all career long, one of the most longest tenured safeties in the league, and he's done just fine here in Sin City. Couple of TDs, couple of interceptions. He is very good in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, you have him, and then, of course, you have on the defensive end, it is Gary Burney, who is going to be able to get into the backfield, take the tackles for loss, take the sacks when he's able to get them. 3.5 sacks for the season, 7 tackles for loss, but don't forget 4 assists as well. He's right where the action is on that defensive line and has been all season long, has Gary Burney.
You have to shuffle somebody over there to stop him. Otherwise, you're just going to have your quarterback ended up with a lot more green on your jersey than Minnesota already has on their jersey. You don't want that if you're Johnny Reno. So again, 2 good teams going into the final game of the regular season. This one's going to be fun, and we're here for it all night long.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Just to set the stage one last time for you. For Sin City, it's very simple. They win, they get into the playoffs. That's it. That's all. There's nothing simpler than that. They score more points than Minnesota, and they get into the postseason tournament. The Minnesota Legend, a win gets them a home playoff game against Florida. A loss gets them a road playoff game against Carolina. That should be a fun one if that indeed comes to fruition as well. We've got one more game on the schedule tonight. Season 24 rapidly coming to a close. It's Cameron Irvine and Charles Doherty on the other side of this small break. It is Minnesota and Sin City in this Monday Night Spectacular.
Welcome to the Seven Fires Temple here in Las Vegas, Nevada, where tonight we end the Season 24's regular season with game number 150. And it's all on the line for the Samurai as they try to eliminate a team that they played in the championship just a couple of seasons ago, the Florida Storm. Meanwhile, for Minnesota, it could not be more opposite in what's at stake for them tonight. Either they're the 5 seed and they got a home playoff game next week, or they're the 12 seed and they go on the road to take on Carolina. It all comes down to this. Welcome to Las Vegas alongside Eddie Gage and Ron Haynes in the Stats Truck. Charles Doherty on analysis. I'm Cameron Irvine. Charles, doesn't get much better than this.
Oh, yeah. So what happens here in Vegas is not going to stay in Vegas, man. This has got a lot of implications. Sin City's got to win tonight. And I am so excited to see this Minnesota offense go against this defense. Last 4 games, Sin City's been giving up 11 points, and Minnesota's been putting up 31. So let's see who wins out on that battle. I can't wait to see it on the field.
Minnesota and Sin City, 78 and 79 games respectively in both teams' 6 seasons. Their 2 teams are top 5 in win percentage since they entered the league. The ball's on the tee. Mickey Melillo has kicked it, and we are underway as the Samurai return the opening kick. That's Bob Lung up to the 24-yard line. Sin City and Minnesota both 3-1 off a loss this season. The Samurai lost in their last game against Carolina. Scar Patterson is their quarterback, Charles.
Yeah, I love Scar. One of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. Steady and cool in the pocket, but also good running game. But I want to see how these wide receivers of Sin City go up against these cornerbacks and defensive backs from Minnesota. They are strong. They're one of the strongest defensive back core in the league.
Patterson starts out of the gun with split backs as he sends Al Dillapre in motion, who has had an excellent season for the Samurai and is their top receiver. This is a handoff to Logan Lee, picking up a couple up the middle. Let's meet the Sin City offense. Scar Patterson, Robert Johnson, Logan Lee, and Bill Cherry in the backfield. Israel Adams, Al Dillapre Sr., Bob Lung, Shea Carroll at wide receiver. Tight end is Talon Steele. On the line, keep an eye out for number 70, Jackson Burrito, 71, Kiara Cool, and number 50, that's guard Adam Chance. As Patterson drops to throw, will take off and run. Patterson's got a first down and more. Scar Patterson all the way to the 40-yard line for a Sin City first down. That might have been Patterson's longest run of the season.
Yeah, he only averages about 2.4 per carry. Only did about 25 runs this season, but that was a smart veteran move there. The pocket was breaking down. Coverage was great downfield. Only thing he could do was tuck it in and get some yards.
His longest run was 11. He got 14 on that one. Now 75 rushing yards on the season. First down and 10. Patterson will drop to throw. He'll now dump it off to Logan Lee. Logan Lee breaks off a tackle. Got a block. First down and more into Minnesota territory for the 3-time All-Star.
Yeah, going up against the two-headed monster, well, 3-headed when you throw Cherry in, Johnson, Lee, and Cherry. They're dangerous runners, pretty much the same average per carry, but they're also really dangerous out of the backfield.
To the person that sent me the DM that the game sound, that they loved it when you really meant to have me turn it on, man, a little bit more context would have helped. Thank you, guys. First and 10 at the Minnesota 44-yard line as Patterson drops to throw, fires it into coverage and incomplete, nearly intercepted by Stephon Forge. That's the first incompletion of the night. It'll be second down.
I mean, they're high-fiving it out there, but I'm sure Forge really wanted to hold on to that one. That could have been a pretty big, one of the big plays of the game.
Second and 10 for Patterson at the Minnesota 44-yard line. Minnesota wearing their throwbacks tonight. Have those green stripes down the pants and socks. That's caught by Bob Lung. It looked like it could have been easily taken back the other way to set up 3rd and short.
That was like a millisecond away from being intercepted. I mean, Scar Patterson just put it on a rope.
Patterson 17 interceptions this season to 16 touchdowns, so hoping to get that positive touchdown-interception ratio before the season is done. 3rd down and 1 on the opening drive for the Samurai here at home. Toss to Robert Johnson. He's got the first down to the 31-yard line.
It's one of the things that one of the plays that Sin City's known for. They're excellent running off tackle, especially when they throw that pitch play in.
$7:50 to go in the first. Dillapre again in motion from left to right. 6 in the box for Minnesota. They rush just 4. This is Patterson on the check down. Got a block. Bill Cherry, a first down to the 21-yard line. This Minnesota defense includes Angela Meerkat, Mark Mello, Chloe Meerkat, and Max Knight on the line. The linebackers, Matthew Alvarado, Stephen Black, and Stefan Forge. In the secondary, your corners, David Leathers, Nicholas Frossel, Johnny Bravo, and at safety, Slyn Shady, Jubilee Marsh, and Derek Meerkat. Leathers on that last tackle.
You know you're living right when you've got from an offensive standpoint, when you've got a fullback that's as good at catching those balls, short routes and those mid-range routes.
Bill Cherry's 6th catch of the season. He's also got 65 carries and a rushing touchdown to his name. Handoff to Logan Lee, picks up 7. 2nd and 3.
Just methodically going down the field, Cam. Nothing too flashy. A couple not really nice passes by Scar. Nice decision on that run. But most of this series has been, some bang-it run plays.
6:45 to go in the first. Toss to Johnson. Johnson breaks a tackle, gets a block, and walks into the end zone. Sin City on their opening possession scores and leaves Florida Storm fans shaking in their boots.
And they score on one of those signature plays. I mean, you got to have somebody out there on the side waiting for that pitch play, because it's going to take more than one player to bring down the likes of Robert Johnson.
Well, that's how you want to start if you're the Sin City Samurai, who boast a 34-8 home record. Of course, since they moved to Las Vegas, they are 4-1 here at home, losing only to the Washington Trident, who are your number 2 seed in the playoffs. Sin City's extra point is good. 7-0, 6:41 to go. 9-play, 75-yard drive. And we'll get to see Minnesota and that number 1 run game led by Colin Hart next.
And that was a very, like I said, very methodical and impressive drive, just to kind of set the tone for the offense, let them calm down, kind of go over what they practiced all week and know that it's going to work on the field. A lot of confidence building that first series did.
Deep kick 9 yards into the end zone is kneeled down by Quag Mam. So Johnny Reno comes out there to lead the Minnesota offense. He also, like Scar Patterson, has 16 touchdowns and 17 interceptions this season.
Yeah, I want to see what they do on the run play. The offensive line averages about 35 pounds over the defensive line for Sin City, so let's see if that power game is effective for running on the Minnesota side.
The big boys and girls up front keep Reno clean for that 7-yard catch to Jay Taylor. Let's meet the rest of the Minnesota offense. Reno, Isaac Knox, Colin Hart, Robert Henson Jr. in the backfield. Quag Mam, Deezer Powell, Taylor, E.J. Minson are your receivers. Tight end is Jason France. And on the line, number 51, Brookie Burr, 74, Axel Raven, 53, Carly Forge, 77, Griffin King, and 69, Ruthie Raven, all up front to lead that number 1 rushing attack. Colin Hart, 1,025 yards coming into the night, leads all players in the SFL. He takes the handoff, breaks a tackle, first down to the 31.
You're talking about the run game. You can't forget those wide receivers. I mean, they average 3 inches higher than 3 inches taller than the defensive backs for Sin City, and they're also faster too. So there's going to be a lot of tired defensive backs for Sin City tonight.
Both offenses off to a hot start as Jason France will go in motion from right to left. Sliding the feet, getting set. Minnesota in no hurry here early. Handoff to Isaac Knox, and the big Isaac Knox, 6'3", 235, rumbles ahead for 4.
Yeah, like we're seeing that offensive line, kind of show a little bit of domination here in the early part of the game on that run blocking scheme.
Halfway through the first quarter, we got a good one here as the handoff goes to Hart out of the fullback position, scoops up a handful of yards to set up 3rd and 1.
This this drive of Minnesota's is kind of similar to what we saw for Sin City. Maybe not as many passes, but effective. Neither defense has really shown an answer to stop the offenses so far tonight.
Hand off on 3rd and 1 and dropped for a loss. That defensively was Gary Clem with the TFL, and it's going to set up 4th down.
Yeah, that's Clem's had a great season. That's his 12th TFL. He's first in forced fumbles. I mean, he's been all over the field this season. And on that play, they needed a stop. And who do you call? You call Clem.
Denver Nightwings owner Jeremy Vega is in the house tonight. He's cheering for the Sin City Samurai because a Sin City win would give Denver a first-round home game against Bossier City. But a Minnesota win tonight sends Denver on the road to Carolina, 2 totally different opportunities for the Nightwings. So they, like many other teams tonight, Charles, have a lot at stake.
Definitely, and this Minnesota defense is going to have to dial it up, I think, on this series. You don't want to go down 2 scores.
1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. Dillapre Sr.'s getting a workout. Goes in motion. Patterson going to start with a throw, setting up a screen out to Logan Lee. Lot of room. Logan Lee, first down, and that's a big component of this early game plan, Charles. Lee with just 7 receptions this season, but not tonight.
Yeah, that swing pass was perfectly set up. He had 3 blockers on the edge there just to let him get that extra mileage for the first down and more.
Under 4 to play. Scar's going to go empty here. Patterson just gets it away. Pass is caught, and then breaking 2 tackles. Bob Long gets away. Bob Long, 25-20, 15, down to the 13-yard line. One of the best plays of his career.
He started out, Cam, going minus 20 on that one, but that's what you call a turnaround. I thought he was going to put them in bad spot, but man, Long just turned around and showed his nimble of foot.
And you could see Minnesota started pursuing Lung to bring him down, and then it turned out to be an over pursuit, and it worked out in Sin City's favor. They now have a 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line of Minnesota, and the Legend are in some trouble here early on as Adams goes in motion. Patterson dropping a throw, fires into the end zone, touchdown Bob Long, 13-0 Samurai.
Another extremely laser perfect pass by Scar. What a drive. And they showed a little more aggression here on this series, Cam. All you need is one series where get some confidence, a little bit of run, a little bit of pass. You can open it up a little bit if you know that you're firing all cylinders. And we saw it on that series, Cam. What a drive.
This might be Patterson's best quarter of the season, Charles. I mean, he is on fire. 6 for 7 for 108.
He's a beast, and he's just standing in that pocket. And I think what's smart, Cam, is we're seeing a lot of short drop backs, so it's not allowing that aggressive line for Minnesota to impact any of the passing because he gets rid of it so quick, and he makes the right decision so far.
The Samurai responding to the challenge. Now, Minnesota's in the playoffs no matter what, but just like Denver, they'd rather have a home game than going on the road. Although I don't know how much of a gift it is to play Florida in the playoffs. That's what would happen for Minnesota at home if they were to win tonight. But 1st down and 10, you never want to go into the playoffs with no momentum, Charles.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And I'd vote for a home game any day.
3:05 to go in the first quarter. Reno dropping a throw. Reno sets his feet and hits Taylor, very similar to how the first drive started for Minnesota.
He's getting plenty of time back there, and allowing the wide receivers to do what they do best. They're solid route runners and hard to cover, and we saw it on that play. I mean, they're fast, and it's hard to. You're going man to man on them. You really got to pack a lunch.
Evan Lacey on that last tackle. Johnny Reno fires into heavy traffic, and I think they're going to get a penalty on, I think that may have been Gary Clem tackling the receiver.
Yeah, that was illegal in 40 states.
Let's see the crime. Actually, that did not come where I thought it was going to take place, Charles. I'm not. Maybe they got the wrong number.
You didn't see the uppercut in the knee. I'm just kidding.
He took out that baton and whacked him one.
The taser.
2:36 to go in the first. Handoff to Hardy. Makes the first man miss with a spin, but it slows him down, gets a yard. That's Terrence Pearson on the tackle. And let's take a look at the Sin City defense. Gary Burney, Mike All, L.L. Volton, Rose Steele on the line. Mark Gronick, Gary Clem, Kevin Brackett at linebacker. Corners are Evan Lacey, Zachary Hamburger, Terrence Pearson, and Joshua Durr. Safeties are Kanye Rockefeller, J.J. Bailey, and Bo Martin Jr. Hand off to the fullback this time, truly Robert Henson Jr. with the pickup of a handful, and we're back to 3rd and short again.
Lots of stars on this Minnesota offense, but the one person I think you want to have at the top of the touches for the game is got to be Colin Hart. He leads the league in rushes, and he's just a beast out of the backfield.
3rd down and 4. Taylor goes in motion. Reno drops to pass, and oh, what a play! One-handed scoop, and all the way down to the Minnesota 30-yard line. Kanye Rockefeller showing off.
7th interception of the season, Cam. And this defense for Sin City, I mean, if you look at it on paper, they're undersized and they're not as fast as the wide receivers. But, man, this scheme that they came up with is just completely confusing the wide receivers of Minnesota, and they're just doing what they need to get the ball back and put some points on the board.
Interception number 90 for Kanye Rockefeller. And he is now one behind ye old Jeffrey Daggs, who's still active for Mexico City. Here again with a screen. This time Patterson almost got his legs taken out, but Logan Lee picks up 8. Sin City doing things just a little bit differently tonight, Charles, and I think Minnesota was expecting the norm.
I mean, you could light cherry bombs out of his helmet ear hole, and he still wouldn't flinch. I mean, he's just standing back there, pocket breaking down, almost going to get slammed by 350-pound linemen. Cool as a cucumber.
Those were excellent visuals. I wish we had a sketch artist to paint what you just described. Robert Johnson has got they said he's short. I don't know about that.
Oh, come on now. You don't make a call like that if it's against the home team.
We'll see if we get a challenge here. We won't get a challenge. And that was Jason Clay on the tackle. Was previously inactive earlier this season, but is now active as Robert Johnson is not going to get there. So, wow. Sin City should have challenged, but didn't, and then did not get the first down. They'll only end up with 3.
And that was a huge tackle by Jubilee Marsh. Huge tackle. One-on-one tackle against a very strong running back for Sin City.
Check that. That was Niall Diggs on the tackle for Minnesota. 37-yard field goal for Franz is good. 17-0 Sin City. $5 super chat from Derek Meerkat. This game is making me sad, Cam. Cheer me up with a meerkat meow. Well, Charles, we knew it would come to this.
We have to have a meerkat do something on the field. Then Cam will do it. Promise me.
I promised you.
Is that not the right answer, Cam?
Is that?
The dead air gave it away.
I mean, technically, we are supposed to. There you go. How's that? How was that, Meerkats? How for accuracy? We studied this. We came prepared tonight, folks.
Hours and hours of tape.
1st and 10 at the 20. Johnny Reno fires, caught by Jason France. You know, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to Minnesota's offense more after the end of the first quarter. End of one. Wow, Sin City is all over Minnesota early. The legend got to wake up. We'll be right back. Aerial coverage of tonight's game provided by Dags DroneWorks, aerial photography and videography services for real estate, events, marketing, and more. Learn more at dagsdroneworks.com. Have you ever rode that roller coaster, Charles? I've heard it is horrible, but Las Vegas is a lot of fun.
No, I have not.
Dags.
When I go to Vegas, roller coasters are the last thing on my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, get those slots spinning, baby. Second down and 3. Eddie Gage has been on that roller coaster, said it was cool. So there you go.
Virtual hug to Eddie. He needs a virtual hug.
Colin Hart picks up about a half a yard. Third and a long one coming up.
And I must say in chat, Mike Dags does not know what a meerkat sounds like. He's judging us.
Yeah, he should just look it up.
All the time we put in studying just shuts it down.
It just goes to show you, Charles, you can't please everybody. Third down and 1, handoff Isaac Knox. He didn't get that either. And Charles, Minnesota's offense has come out with a particular strategy of pass to get a second and short, and then run to get the first down. But on back-to-back drives, the run game has let them down in these second and third and short situations.
Yeah, I thought we were going to see a little spark on the offense after that really solid defensive stop by Minnesota, but they just kind of fizzled. And now Sin City has again, and they're putting points up on the board. And look out, Minnesota! You got to do something to change the game here.
I knew this was going to happen, Charles. Anytime you get a day like Sunday, which was one of the best days in SFL history in terms of competition on the field. I mean, it was just so razor tight, all 3 games. It kind of feels like they sucked up all the magic last night because right now we got a little bit of a stinker unless Minnesota can turn it around.
Yeah, still early, but yeah, I know where you're going.
All right, Adams goes in motion. Can Minnesota's defense find some opportunity here? Roll out Patterson on first down, and that pass is caught at the 49-yard line. Bob Lung. They can't do anything wrong.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, Scar Patterson is in the zone. He is in the zone. That was not an easy pass to complete right there, right over the head of David Leathers, who is he's one of the better defensive backs in the league. Made it look easy.
First down and 10 at midfield for Sin City. Empty backfield here for Patterson. 8 of 9 for 136 so far tonight. As Patterson fires incomplete. That one broken up by Matthew Alvarado, one of the best defenders in the SFL.
Yeah, they needed that. They got now they got second and 10, and sitting a little better than they were. Slow this train down.
Patterson's leading target this year is Al Dillapre Sr. with 46 catches. Bob Lung coming in with just 20. That was 4th best on the team. He is their leading receiver tonight with 4 for 86. Toss to Lee. Logan Lee has space and has the first down to the Minnesota 38-yard line.
Another good run off the edge there. Set up. I can't say enough about how good the blocking is for the tight ends and the wide receivers for Sin City. I mean, they set their running back up perfectly for that run outside.
8:15 to go in the first half. 17-0 Sin City on top of Minnesota. Eddie Gage and Ron Haynes in the stats truck. Charles Doherty, Cameron Irvine with you here on the call as Johnson is dropped for no gain. Tyler Falk, Chris Curtis back in our studios for half and post. They will be previewing in post-game the wild card matchups, which will be finalized once we go final here.
Another big hit by Alvarado on that play, too.
Alvarado up to a couple tackles. Or tackle and a pass breakup as Lee spins back inside and rumbles ahead to set up 3rd and short.
He's so sneaky. I mean, he gets 3 or 4 yards and you think he's going to get brought down, but he just keeps chugging those legs and adds another 4 or 5 to it. Now we're looking at 3rd and 3.
7:20 to go in the first half, and Minnesota needs an answer from their defense now. Patterson, roll out, nearly sacked, pass, caught, Dillapre, first down to the 15, and it's, Charles, it's all the different things Sin City's doing that is leaving Minnesota in a tailspin.
Well, it's not only the different things they're doing, it's their perfect execution of it. That's, one of the better rollouts you see. Perfect set on the edge there, plenty of time for Scar to go through his progressions, and he just delivers an ace.
Now 9 of 11, and Sin City is outgaining Minnesota 213-51 in the first half. Patterson again drops back and escapes just a bit to his to Al Dillapre Sr., who picks up 4.
Yeah, 2nd and 6 here, Cam. This is the time for Minnesota to, dial something up. They got to do something to change the pace of this game. So far, they're looking up, and they got to make something happen good.
Hand off. Robert Johnson gets a couple more.
3rd and 3. Not a lot of your real estate to work with, being so close to the goal line. But the way Scar's been playing tonight, man, he could throw it in the bread box.
It feels like you got to hold him to 3 here.
Definitely.
6 minutes to go in the first half. Toss, Lee. Didn't get it. And another 4th. Whoa, and a push and shove. Nicholas Frossel's getting upset out there. It's a battle. Sin City's going to have to settle for 3.
Any other team, I'd be questioning that call, but the way they've been running that pitch play all night, you can't really fault them for coming up short.
Field goal is good from Charles Franz. 10 plays, 67-yard drive, and honestly, Charles Franz might be the rookie of the year. He's been awesome at kicker.
Just with the first name alone.
But I think that would be our first rookie of the year kicker in league history. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that would be awesome.
27 of 28 this season. Patterson, a near perfect QBR. It's 20-0, but it's a 3-score game, and Minnesota hasn't necessarily played bad, Charles. They just really haven't been able to get into a rhythm.
You also have to you tip the cap to the way the secondary of Sin City's been playing tonight. I've said it, a couple times so far. That wide receiver crew for Minnesota is no joke.
There are no deep safeties for Sin City right now. All 11 players are within 5 yards of the box, and they pitch it out to Colin Hart, and he doesn't get anything. Minnesota's got to recognize that.
They had 15 players on the edge there waiting for that pitch. Good point. I counted.
Pretty sure that's a violation, but you know what? So is taking somebody's legs out with a baton.
That's one of many of mine tonight so far.
2nd down and 10, handoff to Henson Jr., and Robert Henson Jr. only gets 3, so 3rd and 7 coming up for Minnesota halfway through the second quarter.
Got to get this first down. I mean, there's still plenty of time left in the game, but they got to get success here in the first half. Time is slipping away on them.
Reno out of the gun, 4 of 5 tonight, going to take off and run and takes a sack. Absolutely decked by LL Volt.
He didn't see anything downfield, Cam. He tried to make a positive out of it, but Volt just wasn't having any of it. Another tip of the cap, not only to the defensive line, but again, good downfield coverage by Sin City tonight.
Spun off of Brookie Burr and, right into Johnny Reno, and that was Minnesota's worst drive of the night, if you can call that a thing. This has been a frustrating first half for their offense. Just have not been able to get anywhere near the 50. As Sin City's going to try to put up one more, 4-12. Maybe it's up to Minnesota's defense to get that ultimate answer.
I believe Sin City scored on every possession. Am I correct? I think so. Maybe
4 of 4. Yep, you're right.
Say that again?
You're right, Charles Doherty. You want me to do it in song next time?
Yeah, I'm going to have that as an app on my phone.
That pass, Patterson again, caught by Logan Lee's running a little in-cut, 7-yard pickup.
And that's one of those plays where you've got to make a quick decision, and you got to be, quick decision and get it in quick, because the defenders for Minnesota are so fast. They're going to close up that hole easy.
3:46 to go in the first half, and the handoff goes to Johnson. Johnson breaks a tackle, gets to the Minnesota 44-yard line, and for the time being, the Legend offense will have to stay on the field.
They're just methodical tonight, Cam. Run on the outside, run up the middle, roll out play. They're firing on all cylinders.
It just seems like every play is the perfect play call for the moment, as Lee will get a few, 2nd down and 7. And right now, all Minnesota can do is just keep this close enough for them to figure things out.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't question them if they just try and grind it out and just take, even if they don't have any points on the board, just kind of take it to 20-0 and a half. I mean, that's a heck of a half against Minnesota.
Handoff, Lee, Johnson actually, who was creamed in the backfield, but actually ends up getting back to the line of scrimmage.
That was a good reaction time there by the Minnesota defense, and they've got to get a spark here on this 3rd and 8.
They have had no answer for Sin City's passing attack. Patterson against a blitz will fire down the field. One out, a catch at the 29, caught by Dillapre.
That was beauty. Wow, right in the middle of the zone coverage. Pass, one of the least accurate passes by Scar. And I'm not saying it was a bad pass at all, but had to catch it one-handed. And if you're going to, look for a wide receiver to catch it with one mitt, Dillapre Sr. is your man.
Charles, second half adjustments are a thing, but sometimes you bury yourself so deep in a hole they don't matter, right? I mean, it's just too late. Minnesota, they got to get an answer now. Logan Lee breaks off a tackle, dragging defenders, picks up 5.
Well, I mean, the way both offense and defense are playing tonight for Sin City, I mean, it's going to be quite a mountain to climb up to. I'm not saying it's not possible, but they've got to be perfect on both sides of the field.
The Samurai trying to make it 3 straight trips to the playoffs, and they're first in their new home. 4th straight trip, I should say. Apologies. But Vegas has a winning football team again, and right now they are 2 quarters and change away from making it back to the postseason. This is Robert Johnson with the handoff for the 1st down.
And it's a punch in the gut, Cam. As a guy who used to do defensive coaching, when they get those runs up the middle and those holes are so open, it's very frustrating.
The Samurai have 5 losses this season, and they're to teams with winning records currently. Minnesota, another one of those teams, but just have not been able to get anything going tonight as Logan Lee gets nothing. Sin City's only got 1 win against a team with a winning record this season, Charles. That's Vancouver. So you're thinking coming into the night, well, Minnesota's a pretty good team, but yeah, it's been all Samurai right now.
They are on fire.
2nd and 10. Scar takes the check down to Bill Cherry, and Cherry gets 8.
Oh my gosh! You don't see many in this era of SFL football. You don't see a lot of quarterbacks checking it down. I mean, they always try and go with a deep pass first, maybe a middle pass. You rarely see him dumping it off to the halfback. And Scar's just putting on a lesson there on what to do when downfield coverage is in your face.
3rd and 2. Talon Steele takes the handoff, or goes in motion. What am I talking about, Charles? Scar back to throw. Dumps it off on a screen. Logan Lee, 1st down to the 6, and a timeout by the Samurai.
This is just what a drive, Cam. What a drive. They are moving down the field at will, and they're eating up the clock. I mean, it's an offensive coordinator's dream.
2 in the backfield, 2 receivers to the bottom of the screen. Trying to go up 27-0. Straight back. Scar's pass poked around and incomplete.
Oh, that was there. That was there. They needed that interception, Cam.
Now it's 2nd and goal. Just the 3rd incompletion for Scar, to your point, Charles. Haven't had many opportunities to get him
that one. At least his worst pass of the night so far.
2nd and goal. Scar back to pass. Going to check it down again to Lee. Lee is not going to get there. Timeout Sin City. The touchdown saving tackle made by David Leathers. 3rd and goal. I'd expect another pass here.
Yeah, I mean, or a roll, maybe a rollout. I don't know. Maybe they'll surprise us with a rollout.
3 receivers. 2 to the short side right. Patterson goes straight back, going to just dump it off again, looking for blockers, and got the block he needed. Touchdown, Logan Lee, his 7th catch of the first half.
Amazing setup too. I mean, there was a defender in the area, but there are already 2 blockers there, ready to help Logan Lee get in the end zone after that catch. Look, you had the guard pull, and you had the tackle over there ready to help.
That was Kiara Cool getting out there just at the last second to get that block. And, you know, some of the best coaches or coaching decisions you can make, Charles, especially this time of year, you want to save things. You want to have a plan D, a plan E, a plan F in your back pocket that people haven't seen. And Sin City has really not involved their backs a lot in the passing game this season. I just don't think Minnesota was looking for that tonight.
I mean, but the point here is they're executing it perfectly. You know what I mean? It's one thing to have a good play, but if your team can't execute it, it doesn't really matter. They could use this exact same game plan next week, and I you know, you can't hate them for it because they've been playing so well.
Bam up to the 30. Coming up on the SFL Monday Night Spectacular halftime report, Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk review Sin City's first half dominance. Playoff surprises with Tyler and Curtis as to who's made the big dance, and then of those that have clinched, who is your dark horse in the bracket. That's all coming up on the SFL halftime report, and it'll give Minnesota some extended time to look themselves in the mirror. Still 44 seconds left here in the first half, and all 3 timeouts. This first down play will tell us a lot about their strategies here. They'll just hand it off to Colin Hart. He breaks away. Colin Hart, 45, 40, down to the 36. Timeout, Minnesota. The biggest play on Minnesota's offense tonight. First down.
Hey, you got to get Colin Hart involved. Smart. And that's something you can get a little momentum going into the locker room. They have to finish.
Minnesota had 49 yards of offense before that 33-yard run. Down to the Sin City 36-yard line. Jason France goes in motion. Reno to throw. Fires. Caught at the 24 somehow by Deezer Powell.
That was we talked about Scar all night in his accurate passing. And Reno really put it in there.
Now Minnesota's got to be careful. They got 1 timeout left. 7 in the box for Sin City, as the legend would really like a touchdown here. Straight back Reno, pass caught Taylor. 28 seconds left. That is the final timeout for Minnesota. Remember, anything in the field of play under 15 seconds to go is a danger zone. They got about 28 seconds right now, Charles.
I think if they're going to throw it in the middle, it's got to be close to the end zone. They don't want to do a short dump off.
Minnesota's no huddle, one of the best in the game. And I was going to say they may not need it, but Powell could not come up with it in the end zone. Lacey and Rockefeller, the dynamic duo back there.
You know, I actually think it hit the receiver too. Did you see that pass broken up?
Yeah, I mean, he could have had it. I think it was more the receiver got hit as he was trying to make the play more than it was broken up. Reno back to throw, fires a good end zone, and this time Reno squeezes it in to Deezer Powell for the score.
7th of the season, and man, they needed that. I mean, wow. They've got some life going into halftime, and that's what you need. I mean, started off with that long run by Hart. We've been looking for his involvement, you know, all night, and now Hart and Powell. The 1-2 combination putting some points on the board.
Wow, that is big for Minnesota, especially going into the locker room. Minnesota will get the ball to start the second half, so you could be looking at a 2-score game, just a few minutes into the third quarter, Charles. That drive meant everything to the Legends season.
Definitely. I mean, you can't overstate it. They were, not firing and on all cylinders. Let's just say that. They needed some life, and that definitely gave it to them.
Mark Mello wanted an onside kick in the chat. That would have been aggressive. Oh, what a whirlwind of a first half. I mean, you can see there. I mean, how often, Charles, do you see a team with nearly 300 yards of offense in one half of SFL football? That is something else.
It was going to be,
Hand off to Lee. Go ahead, Charles.
I knew it was going to be an interesting game when they started off first play of the game in shotgun. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, Sin City definitely came out looking a little different tonight, looking a little playoff ready, but they still have 2 quarters to prove themselves as Patterson will toss it one more time to Johnson, and that is how the first half is going to end. Minnesota makes it a little bit easier to swallow here at the as they go into the halftime locker room. They get the ball to start the second half with an opportunity to cut it to a 2-score game. Charles, your first half summary.
Well, I mean, with the exception of that last series, Sin City's been dominating on both sides of the ball. I think in as far as adjustments for Minnesota on defense, they need to be aggressive. They can't let Scar go through his progressions. Need to force him to make mistakes. And Minnesota on offense, they got to get, I'm going to say it all night, they're going to have to get Hart more involved. I mean, we saw what happened when they gave him, touches here late in the first half. He got him in scoring position. So, he's a beast, and I think good things are going to happen the more touches he gets.
Yeah, and if Sin City's going to be that aggressive in the box, right, Charles? I mean, Colin Hart just has to break one, and he's out of there, and that's what we
take a page out of the Sin City playbook and throw a screen to him or swing pass to him. I think he'll be dangerous.
Yeah, they could do that too. Scar Patterson, a near perfect QBR, and to your point, just 7 catches for Colin Hart this season. Maybe they will get him involved in the passing game in the second half. For now, let's take a halftime break presented by Brakes GPT, and then we'll send it to our studio.
We just pulled a full-size Taylor Swift helmet. Shout out to all our Swifties. Travis Kelce. This is a Giants Lawrence Taylor.
Patrick Mahomes.
Chad Johnson with the Ocho Cinco.
We have a Drew Brees.
Is that an O.J. Simpson jersey?
It's an Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my goodness.
Tom Brady! Tom Brady!
Spectacular halftime report. Sin City is 1 half away from getting into the playoffs for the first time in their new home. They have a 27-7 lead over Minnesota, Tyler. And Minnesota with that touchdown late, maybe a statement of intent as they do not intend to roll over quietly.
Well, for Minnesota fans, I'd hope so, because that was, I don't know what that was for Minnesota. That was not pretty. That's going all the way back to beginning of the season for Minnesota when they couldn't put 2 wins together until week 6. It's just been astounding. I mean, they lost on the road to Mexico City and Baltimore, two of the top teams, 2 teams with a bye in the postseason, and now you're looking like you're playing like that against a Sin City Samurai team who's fighting just to get into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Very peculiar from Minnesota, and in Sin City, all credit to the Samurai. They knew what was at stake tonight. They knew they had to get a win, and they are playing like it. For all intents and purposes, Sin City, they're 3-1 this season when coming off a loss. The only time they haven't, for the last 3 straight losses for Sin City, or I should say 2 straight losses for Sin City without going back-to-back, they have won that game. They're probably going to make it 3 in a row just based on how they're performing tonight. They've got the run game going, and this immovable object at home, this defense is playing like they're the immovable object and not letting Minnesota come into their house and try and take their 8th victory.
Yeah, this is a big-time game from Sin City. And Cam said it best earlier. Halftime adjustments be damned. I mean, when you go down 27-7 at halftime, you're really up against it regardless of what kind of adjustments you're looking at. We've seen deficits like this erased before, but it is not a very common occurrence, and Minnesota is definitely up against it early on. And the game plan differences Sin City has put out there, I mean, getting the running backs involved, that's a big one. Logan Lee, Robert Johnson, catching passes, taking carries. They've been very dynamic out of the backfield against this Minnesota defense.
And if it's not running, it's, again, out of the passing game. We saw down near the goal line 3 straight screen plays, and they would just, even on those plays, they were just chipping away at the resistance from Minnesota, and eventually it broke. And that's the one thing you have to do if you're playing the Sin City team, regardless of area, regardless of location. You have to be able to get into their backfield. And that's the one thing we really haven't seen. We talked about it pregame. There's really no persistence from Matthew Alvarado, the one of the team's leading TFLers, and he's got nothing. Just 1 tackle and 1 assisted tackle at best. This is not the type of game Minnesota wants to be playing. I wholeheartedly agree with Charles. Minnesota have to be aggressive. They have to figure something out because it's just not working. Siobhan Prasad with a $5 super chat. Can I get a Carolina? I love y'all at the end of the show. I'll give you a halftime. Hopefully I'll remember that season. But
there
hey,
you go.
Sin City doing all they can, regardless if it's passing or running from the halfbacks.
All right. Well, the nice part for Minnesota is they are in the playoffs regardless. So if they are to lose this one, they do have to go on the road against a hot Carolina team. If they win, they host Florida. Sin City just trying to get in, and they are playing like it and playing very well at the moment. Looking at the playoffs as a whole right now, and really let's broaden that just a little bit and go to the regular season as a whole. Now that everything is in the rearview mirror, give me your 1 or 2 biggest surprises at this point with just 1/2 of football remaining in the regular season.
So it has to be said, though they're not in the postseason, just didn't get the quality wins. This is a massive turnaround already for the Queen City Corsairs. My tip, my cap to them for the hard work they put in to get 6 wins on the board. That immediately should spark a lot of hope and amongst that roster and give them a reason to say, hey, we have dramatically improved from where we were a season ago. And we, in a year's time, we are looking to continue that momentum if you guys stick around. So the Corsairs should be quite happy with where they are right now.
On top of
Denver,
that, real quick, free agency is going to be a big thing for Queen City as well. They can use that as a springboard to lure some top targets in free agency to Western New York. So that's a really, really good call. Continue.
Absolutely. Second one, Denver. They introduced coaching change the end of last season, and they put together a couple of games, and we were just wondering what would they do with a full season under their belt. Well, they put themselves in the playoffs. A phenomenal job from the Nightwings crew, and they're back where they have been. It's the first winning season since they won the championship in season 16. That's an incredibly long time ago. So hats off to the Nightwings for doing a stellar job. And then, of course, the number 2 seed this season, the Washington Trident, that long and storied history of that franchise going back to St. Louis, then Motor City. Now over here on the Pacific, in the Pacific Northwest, where we've seen teams come and go. Seattle Nemesis, Seattle Tyrant, just to name a few teams that have come and left from this area. Now you have a Washington franchise that needed to say we are a new squad,
new
identity, have new ambitions, we have a new identity. Precisely, we are going to prove it to this market, and they have done a phenomenal job of doing that in their first season in Washington, finishing at the 2nd seed out of the regular season. Those are my 3 good surprises out of this season.
Yeah, and this is why I'll have one surprise for you, and the surprise has yet to be completed, and it's something that very well could happen. And this is not a knock against either team because they are both storied franchises in this league with a lot of success. But we are one half of football from potentially going to a playoff in the SFL without Florida and without Arizona. That is, we'd have to go back into the storybooks to figure out when the last time that was. I don't have that in front of me, but that is something to think about as we get into this last half of football. Minnesota trying to keep the history alive, though, and also come back from a massive 20-point deficit against the Sin City Samurai. Real quick, your dark horses. Looking at who's qualified so far, give me who you think could be the dark horse in this playoff bracket to go to make a really deep run. I'm not even going to say win a title, just you make a really deep run.
I mean, as things stand right now, I mean, I'm looking. I mean, Bossier City gets in, and as things stand, they're playing the Denver Nightwings, who again we've touched on here just a little bit. But if all things concerned, if playoffs work how they usually do, and we have no upsets besides maybe Bossier City taking down Denver, you're looking. I don't think Bossier City has a deep run playoff, but you know, in the team that I'm looking at to make a surprise run at the playoffs would not be anyone fifth or lower, and that's a knock at our own team a little bit, but I could really see Vancouver pulling an upset over the Trident, and again, it's their first season in quite a long time that Washington has been in the postseason, but heck, they've got the caliber coaches. But this might be the season where Vancouver gets more than just a single win in a postseason quite some time. So I'm looking at Vancouver. It would be the first time. I'm looking at Vancouver because if they get 2 wins, they're head of the SFL championship. For the first time in there.
Yeah, so it'd be wild. Last time they've gotten the deepest they've gone is the semifinals in season 9. If that gives you kind of a story, that was their first season as a franchise. We went back into the storybooks, producer Cameron Irvine in the background. Season 14, that was 5.5 years ago. But the last time we have not seen Florida or Arizona in a playoff bracket together. Separately, either Florida or Arizona. That's a wild stat. So this very well could be a history-making night. And like I said, no shot at either of those teams because both of them have definitely done their due in this league and deserve all the respect. So should be a lot of fun. But Minnesota trying to hang on by a thread to their home playoff game chances. Sin City looking real good at getting in to the postseason. It's 27-7. Sin City leads at halftime. Charles Doherty, Cameron Irvine on the other side. This has been the Monday Night Spectacular halftime report. Stay tuned for postgame.
Welcome back to Las Vegas, Nevada, where the Sin City Samurai lead the Minnesota Legend 27-7 as we're kicking off the second half with the Legend getting the football along with Eddie Gage and Ron Haynes on stats. Charles Doherty on analysis. I'm Cameron Irvine on play-by-play, and great halftime review there from Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk as they break everything down. Don't forget, at the end of the game, we will have your finalized dates and times for all 4 of our wild card matchups. Vancouver, Mexico City, Washington, and Baltimore already clinching the 4 byes before tonight. We start the half with a run to Colin Hart that loses a yard. Charles, that's not what Minnesota was hoping for. Charles will return to us shortly. 2nd and 11. Pass is incomplete, looking for Minson. Now it's 3rd and long right out of the gate.
I'm sorry, I was practicing my meerkat sounds. No, I was on mute. Sorry, man. So what I was saying was for a team that's down by 20, they didn't make a ton of mistakes in the first half. They had 1 interception. Numbers look pretty decent for Reno. They just got to build on what they did on that last series, and I think they'll be okay.
3rd and 11. Reno will fire deep. Caught by Powell at the Sin City 45-yard line. And that's twice now that Powell has saved Minnesota.
Just like that. I mean, when you got a guy like Deezer Powell, speed and height combined, it's a nightmare for cornerbacks to cover.
That was your nice hands catch, brought to you by Retroid. Put a Retroid handheld in your hands and play the only video game with your player in at SFL 4K23. That may have saved the game. Reno straight back, incomplete. Now it's 2nd down, looking for Taylor.
Yeah, as long as they're still at a point in the game where they don't have to commit to one element of the offense. I mean, they still can have a little bit of balance out there, and I think you can't forget, you can't lean too hard on the pass this early in the game.
2nd down, Hart's got 7 for 45. Reno's 8 of 12 for a $103, and Powell has 59 of those 103. Reno to pass again. Reno escapes to his left, now going to take off and run. Reno gets crushed by Clem, who actually came off of the defender that he was guarding. Really smart play there by Gary.
Another example of the defensive backs for Sin City, covering those dangerous wide receivers, to a T. Didn't have a lot of options at all. The only thing he could do was run.
Another 3rd down for Minnesota. They're just 1 of 5 tonight. Sin City's 5 of 7. Reno's pass is overthrown. He had a receiver open. That was Taylor.
He had him. I just maybe a one step too far, but man, that would have been a 1st down all over it. Maybe would have been looking at 6 on the board.
And their kicker, Mickey Malillo's got a punt. Unless he fakes it. No fake. No booted away, and Sin City gets a very important stop to start the half. Mickey's punt does not get a favorable bounce, and it dribbles out of bounds at about the 17-yard line. Could have been much better there.
Yep, a lot of hang time, though. Looked like it went up and hit one of Dag's drones.
8:27 to go in the 3rd. And Sin City right back to work, up 20. Now the pressure all on Minnesota's defense. How will they adjust here in this 2nd half? Logan Lee gets 8 more. He's up to 48 yards on the night in the rushing attack, 56 yards in the passing game.
And just look at that offensive line for Sin City, making those holes for the running back. I mean, they've been doing it all night.
Stats team on point. Logan Lee up to 104 all-purpose yards in the ball game so far. Robert Johnson's got the 1st down.
It's just, not a lot of changes we're seeing from Sin City so far. I mean, they know what got them here. Run up the middle, run off tackle.
Logan Lee, 2 100-yard games on the ground this season. But as mentioned, not a whole lot through the air. He has dominated his season high in that department. Lee breaks off a tackle and nearly gets a 1st down. And actually, Charles, he seems to have more room to run in this half.
Yeah, and he's so sneaky. I mean, I keep thinking he's going to get, like I said in the 1st half, he's going to get brought down. He always has the ability to add, 2 or 3 to the end of his run.
Second down and inches, 7:13 to go. In the 3rd, toss play to Johnson. Robert Johnson, another 1st down. Slow and methodical, wins the race tonight for the Samurai.
On that particular play, it was a good adjustment by Johnson on that pitch play. Looked like he was going to go right off tackle, but it looked like they was covered well on defense. Made an adjustment to the outside, and now we're looking at 1st down.
6:46 to go. Toss, Lee. 45-50. Logan Lee down to the Minnesota 42-yard line.
That is a killer. You just keep building up runs like that, and it just saps the will out of your defense. I mean, the Minnesota legend has to do something to disrupt the movement, the momentum, whatever you call it, by Sin City. Got to stop them in their tracks and get the ball back.
Empty backfield, Patterson. This is the first time they've gone to back to that empty look here. Minnesota showing a blitz, but then they back off and only rush forward. That pass nearly intercepted. A little bit of confusion there on Sin City's offense. They didn't know where the legend were coming from. Forge almost got the pick.
And almost hit him in the paws, man. That would have been a big, potential swing there if they would have got the ball on that one.
Third pass deflection for Minnesota, but they have not come up with a turnover tonight. Patterson again against a four-man rush. That pass is incomplete, as in coverage was Jubilee Marsh in her third season.
Yeah, that was good tight coverage downfield, and I just need another play, same type of coverage.
Third down and 10. Play fake. Roll out. Scar picked off by David Leathers and wrapped up by Scar, but not until Leathers takes it back to the Sin City 45.
That was huge, Cam. That's his 5th interception for the season, and that is potential, to put some points on the board, get this team back in their groove, and cut down the lead.
Leathers also with 4 tackles today is the second leading tackler on the team at corner, having himself an excellent ball game here tonight, even though his legend teammates are down 20. Minnesota with a loss goes to Carolina in the first round as the 12 seed. A win sends them home to be the 5 seed in Florida in the playoffs. Colin Hart, run past the 30, past the 20, down to the 19-yard line.
Feed Mr. Hart the ball. That's what you got to do. You see how dangerous he is in the middle, going through the middle on the outside, and I know he'd cause damage catching it too. Good blocking. I mean, we've been saying all night the blocking for Sin City's been stellar, but on that particular play, Minnesota, man, they have a lot to be proud of on that blocking.
Gary Clem again on the stop. He is the Sin City leader in tackles. 6 tonight with 2 TFLs. First and 10 for Minnesota. 5:35 to go in the third. Johnny Reno dropping a throw against some heavy pressure. Dumps it off to Jason France. France 15. France 10. First and goal for Minnesota. Jason France's second catch.
Woo. Caught that ball, Cam, and he was ready to hit somebody. You see him get down. He brought his shoulder down. He was looking for the first person to hit.
And unfortunately for that cheerleader, it was almost her there on the sideline. First and goal. Fortunately, Jason France chose to just run out of bounds and not choose violence. 5:20 to go in the third. Reno's 8 of 13 for 109 yards. A touchdown and a pick. Reno dropping a throw, fires end zone, pass caught, touchdown! Minnesota, Jay Taylor with the grab. That's 13 unanswered for the legend.
That's what they needed. Oh my gosh, started with that big interception by Leathers. And man, perfect execution. Got Hart involved, got France involved. Yeah, great pass there at the end to Taylor. Man, this I can't overstate how much Minnesota needed that score.
Yeah, it was close. I was wondering if Sin City was going to challenge, but I do think he crossed the plane. How'd you see it, Charles?
I think he crossed.
Mickey Melillo's kick is good. 27-14, 5:11 to go in the third. An almost perfect way to start the second half. And now the pressure's starting to mount on Sin City. And all those Florida Storm fans and players are waking up now, getting nudged by their significant other. Hey, it's a game again.
Yep. Sin City's got hit in the mouth. Let's see how they respond.
Long, who's gone really quiet on the return up to the 23-yard line. He dominated that first quarter, Charles. 4 for 86, and he hasn't been able to haul in a catch since.
Yeah, he hadn't. I mean, in this second half so far, the adjustment for the secondary for Minnesota has been stellar.
Here's a look at your updated stats. 330 for Sin City is still a unbelievable number. 16 first downs, but Minnesota creeping up now. 203 yards of total offense tonight. That 84 rushing yards getting there. Both teams averaging 6 yards a play. First and 10 of the 23. The handoff goes to Lee, and Logan Lee gets 9 yards. Those linebackers are no match for him tonight.
No, I mean, he gets that momentum coming out of the backfield because he's not touched. He's able to go up to top speed running into those linebackers and safeties and able to get those extra yards.
And when you got Marsh, the 6'4", 206-pound, which is the lightest player in their secondary in terms of weight, trying to slow down Logan Lee, who's only 190 himself, but he doesn't miss leg day. That's a tough matchup there. 2nd down and 1, handoff. Bill Cherry, the fullback, first down to the 39 as Sin City continues to mix it up.
Yeah, that's a smart play. Keep the defense on their heels. Hand it off to the fullback and get that good run for first down.
4:18 to go in the third quarter. Patterson hands it off to Lee again, getting away and getting a first down. He's one-on-one with a linebacker almost every time, Charles.
Yeah, Mike Daggs was saying it in chat. He's right. That A-gap on both sides has been wide open all night.
And another safety, Derek Meerkat, has to clean things up. 14 carries for 96 yards. Lee looking for his third 100-yard game of the season. They'll go back to the air with Patterson, 16 of 22, but he's only 2 of his last 5 with a pick. Patterson back to pass, dumps it short. That is complete. Leathers with the immediate stick after a 6-yard pickup.
He threw it right in the gut, though. Only place the wide receiver could catch it, but he knew he was going to get lit up as soon as he touched the ball.
Israel Adams' first catch tonight. Adams, in his first season with Sin City, 28 catches and 2 touchdowns this season. 2nd down and 4. And a heavier look for the Samurai. They'll hand it off to Johnson. Robert Johnson's got a first down. And you know what? He's been overshadowed by Logan Lee, but is still having a very good night, over 50 yards, about 4 yards a carry.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, Mike O'Neill said that the A-gaps are wide open, and we saw it again on that play. But once they get through that gap, man, it's all running back, fullback. They're just so powerful and get those extra yards.
Again, right up the A as Logan Lee nearly gets 10.
Good run. That was a really good run again.
That's too easy, Charles. You have to be able to contain inside.
Yes.
All right, so Sin City, a field goal keeps it a 2-score game, Charles, but Minnesota's under a lot of pressure right now.
They have to stop them here. You know, maybe a field goal at the worst, but man, if they get a touchdown, they're going to be really deep.
Johnson first down to the 21-yard line, and Sin City moves the sticks again. That is first down number 20 on the evening.
I mean, there's no reason why they should change what they're doing. I mean, Minnesota hasn't shown an ability to stop their run at all.
2:05 to go, third quarter. Toss. Lee. Oh, the blocking. Look at Bob Lung, still engaged well after the play is over.
Great. You know, this whole team, that's what I love about Sin City. They all put the effort into block. It doesn't matter what position you're playing. They're going to, put a helmet on you.
6-yard gain, 2nd down and 4. Handoff, Robert Johnson. It'll be 3rd down and 3, the most important 3rd down of the game coming up. If Sin City wins, Charles, they'll go to Albuquerque in the playoffs. That's how the season started, week 1. And Sin City lost by 20 in that matchup. 3rd and 3. Handoff, and Logan Lee is dropped in the backfield. Minnesota keeps it a 2-score game.
Definitely huge tackle there. Like that was Clay, correct? Yeah, that was Clay on that tackle. Man, he needed that, and it's okay walking away with 3 more points against them, but they're only down a couple scores, and they showed on that last series they can make something happen.
Charles Franz, almost missed that one, but it's good. 11-play, 61-yard drive, took 4 minutes and 21 seconds off the clock, but Minnesota keeps themselves in it in a 2-score game. And let's go back to that potential first-round matchup, Charles, because a lot has changed. Week 1 for Sin City, they're just trying to figure out who they are as a team way back when. But Albuquerque has still never lost in their home stadium since joining the SFL. A perfect 12-0. It'll be their first home playoff game, and actually that would be a game that we would be on the call for if things were to turn that direction. But a fascinating first-round matchup if Sin City can hold on to victory.
Yeah, that would be fascinating. Unbelievable.
50 seconds to go in the third. Minnesota saying no quitting us yet. Jason France will go in motion from left to right. Reno against pressure. Reno's got to get rid of it and checks it down to France. Another smart little dump off there, Charles. We've seen both quarterbacks handle pressure very well tonight.
That's what they need to do. I mean, both defenses, secondaries, are setting back on those deep routes, and you've got options in the short and mid-range.
2nd and 5. Again, Reno to throw, and it is complete. That is E.J. Minson for the first down.
It's Minson's first target tonight, is it not?
Yeah, his first catch as well.
He's dangerous out there. They're doing a good job keeping him quiet, but you can't keep him down too long.
15 runs, 17 passes for Minnesota, but just 32 offensive plays as we enter the fourth quarter. We'll get one more playoff here. It's going to be another Reno pass against pressure. That pass is incomplete, looking for Minson. It is incomplete, and that is the end of the third quarter. We had a snoozer. This one has gotten very interesting, but Minnesota needs some answers still. Down 16. You're watching our final Monday Night Spectacular of the season right here on the Virtual Football Network. Eddie Gage, Ron Haynes in the stats truck. Chris Curtis, Tyler Falk back at SFL headquarters and at VFN headquarters. I'm Cameron Irvine alongside Charles Doherty on analysis. High formation, handoff to Robert Henson. And he got one, but now it's third down where Minnesota's still just 1 of 6.
Nice gang tackling there by Sin City. Now's the time to go to France. I think France is money here on this play. Out there. Might not even get out there.
3rd down and 9. Powell in motion has made some of the best plays for Minnesota tonight. 3rd and 9, Sin City sends more pressure. Minnesota's offensive line stands tall, and that is caught by Jay Taylor. First down, Minnesota. This offensive line for Minnesota playing excellent.
Just like I said, perfect time to go to Jay Taylor. Wide open in the middle. Nice route running. Nice decisive throw. I mean, he only had a half a second before he ran into that double coverage. So nice read by Reno as well.
Burr, the Ravens, Forge, and King up front for Minnesota, keeping it alive. Damon Simeon, $10 super chat. Are you going to go over the final standings of the playoffs and the first round matchups after this game? You better believe it, as Johnny Reno is sacked by Rockefeller on a safety blitz.
Well, Rockefeller's having a good game tonight. I think that's his first sack this season as well.
Relentless.
Man, 19 seasons. Holy smokes.
Kanye Rockefeller, a beast in his own right. There's his numbers tonight with a sack, 5 tackles, and a pick. And this is the longest second down that Minnesota's had tonight. And that's the first true sack of the night for Sin City after Reno tried to scramble on the first sack that failed, as that pass is caught just shy of the first down. How about that play call on 2nd and 17, Charles, to almost get it all back?
Yeah, and Minson's starting to heat up here, but little aggression by Minnesota legend by Sin City going man to man against that wide receiver core of Minnesota. A lot of confidence in the defensive backs.
3rd down and 1. Do they dare run it? Look at Sin City stacking the box. Man up front, and the fullback did not get it. That's Henson Jr. Rockefeller on the tackle, and Minnesota's probably going to kick.
Oh, huge play. Rockefeller's just taken over the game on defense. Last couple plays, he's been, exactly where he needed to be and played exactly how he had to.
46-yarder from Mickey Melillo is good. So, oh, no, he missed it. It's short. No. There's an injury. Oh. Joseph is down. I think the kick was good, Charles, but it did look like it came up a little short.
I thought it was in.
That's it. Okay. Woo, man, you don't often see that. Wow, Minnesota dodged a bullet there. Still a 2-score game, 7:37 to go, plenty of time.
We have a crosswind tonight. It looks like those kicks are going pretty far right to left.
Well, and the kickoffs this direction have been going out of the end zone. That's the first one that hasn't tonight. So I feel like Mickey had a little bit of wind. Maybe I would give Sin City the wind advantage here in the fourth quarter just by what we've seen. But, yeah, it looks like a bit of a crosswind. All right, so 7:36 to go. Samurai up 13. Minnesota needs a stop. They're still going with that 6-man box as Logan Lee will get 3 yards. That's probably the best that 6-man box has done against that run tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they cut down the blocking up front. One of the few plays tonight where they were able to seal it.
2nd down and 7. Toss. Johnson with 3 great blocks. Got a long 5. It'll be 3rd and I would say a long 2 coming up for Sin City.
If he would have bounced outside right after that first block, I think we would have been looking at a first down, if not more, because those blockers on the edge are just having their way tonight.
Stephen Black on the stop. Now 8 in the box for Minnesota. Can they get a stop against this run game? Logan Lee got the first down, and the time will continue to wind.
They're in the driver's seat, Cam. I mean, Sin City's built for this type of situation with 6 minutes and 34 seconds left, and they can grind it out. We saw them do it in the first half. On that one series, they took a lot of time off, and they're built to do this.
6:25 left. Patterson dumps it off, got a block. That's 6 yards, and a pretty 6-yard gain at that, Charles. Al with another catch.
Al's been catching him in the middle. He's going to have to put some ice on his body after this game.
Look at the diversity from Patterson in the passing game tonight.
You don't see that very often,
no.
Cam. Normally a lot in the middle.
Handoff. And a fumble! Picked up by Minnesota! Jubilee Marsh!
And that's the first fumble out of any of their running backs this season. The only person that's fumbled for the Samurai was Scar Patterson this season.
Unreal. Marsh forces the fumble. That is the first forced fumble by Marsh, and the 5th as a team for Minnesota. It's actually top 5 in the league. So here we go. Legend down 13, and they toss it out to Jason France out of the backfield, breaking a tackle. France down the sideline of the 26-yard line. Where'd they pull that one out of?
That was awesome. That was a nice wrinkle, and you give it to that fullback. He's that tight end. He is waiting to lay somebody out. He did it right there. Stiff arm, kept going, knocked him, added another 5 yards after he got past the chains.
Well, that was fun.
Oh, my God.
Running like a moose out there, says Mike Daggs. 5:38 left in the fourth quarter. Haven't really had Colin Hart much at all in this half. There's Hart on the carry, and Colin Hart will get 9.
I mean, he's money. I'm more touches. That's all I'm going to say. I've said it all night. He's got 9 attempts. I mean, got to give him more.
Now, Charles, Minnesota's in a precarious position here because what you don't want to do is onside kick too early, but to make sure they're not in that situation, they gotta step on it here. 2nd down and 1. Handoff, Isaac Knox. Knox got the first down to the 15-yard line.
I think that's smart. You're starting with a full deck, of downs, and you can go, like you said, you could go through your plan to, try and score with enough time for the onside.
Is that France back there again? It is. France back there at tailback for the second time on the drive. They hand it off the fullback Henson. got 3, and a little surprised Minnesota did not get in the hurry up there.
Yeah, that is amazing. I mean, it's an eye opener. I mean, they gotta put some points up quick.
4:25 to go in the fourth. Reno, end zone, knocked away and incomplete. And the tackle by Lacey came after the deflection by Rockefeller. They've been a great pair back there tonight.
That was dangerous. They had that area in the end zone well covered. There's no way there was going to be reception there.
And the Samurai defenders sort of blend into that end zone as well. Very, very optical illusion. Tough for Reno to see. 15 of 22 for 196 tonight for Reno. 3rd down and 7. He is 7 of his last 10 passes with a touchdown. 4:19 to go in the ball game. Minnesota down 13. Reno's pass into the end zone, incomplete. And I think you got to go.
You definitely got to go. You got to go. Field goal's not enough here, Cam. That was just. It looked like there was just a little bump there that might have slowed him down on that route.
Here we go. 4th down and 7. Minnesota this season is 1 of 6 on 4th downs. Reno to throw. Fires, incomplete! The tackle at the point of contact by Pearson. 1st down, Samurai.
Oh my gosh! I think it hit him in the numbers.
Gotta catch
that. Oh, that's unfortunate. But great drive just to end that way. Now they're kind of looking at miracles.
Sin City may have just punched their playoff ticket and sent Florida home, but still 4:13 left. Minnesota can get a stop. That was a huge swing, though, for the Samurai to get that stop. Minnesota now 1 of 7 on 4th down this season. Toss. Johnson hit in the backfield. Alvarado trying to bring him down. Johnson still manages to get 3.
That was one of their better defenses of that pitch play outside.
Coming up on the postgame show with Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk, we'll have the dates, times, and matchups of the Wild Card weekend coming up this weekend and a preview of those games. So you won't want to miss that as we debut that schedule right here on the Virtual Football Network. 2nd down and 7, 3:40 to go. Bill Cherry slides to the left. Hand off Lee. All the blocking in the world, but Meerkat makes one of the best plays of the game, holding Lee from getting a 1st down, 3rd and 1.
Yep, kept them in that one, in that tackle there, short of the 1st down. And I just think, they stick to their guns and just keep running it, Cam. Even if they don't get the 1st down, they got to milk the clock.
3 minutes left. Meerkat up to 15 total tackles, and Marsh right behind him with 14 total tackles. 2 passes deflected and a forced fumble. Those safeties have been doing a lot of work back there for Minnesota. Toss. Johnson, 1st down, but nope, clock still runs.
That was a huge 1st down for Sin City. I mean, they're built, like I said a million times tonight, Sin City is built for this situation.
And Minnesota's going to look back on this game, Charles, and maybe they'll take some lessons into their wild card matchup. You got to come out swinging from the get-go, right? Because they were just too conservative, I think, on both sides of the ball, and it really cost them in this game.
I agree. And they've got the horses pretty much do whatever they want on offense.
Lee will still pick up 5 and take us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left in season 24, at least the regular season, that is, right here on VFN. A story out of the SFL, J.W. Hartshorn just recently, just a couple of weeks ago, finding out that he loves to do stats, and we love our stats team. Eddie Gage and Ron Haynes have been holding it down tonight. It's a lot of fun to be behind the scenes in SFL production around here, so make sure you get involved next season as Robert Johnson breaks off a tackle, and Johnson's got the first down, and now Minnesota's got to start burning timeouts.
Yeah, I mean, that's been that textbook Sin City all night. They have Minnesota hasn't had an answer at all for those outside pitches. Oh, pitches.
19 carries, 82 yards for Johnson. I mean. Charles, we've got the first call of the playoffs Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. It looks like it's going to be Sin City and Albuquerque as our matchup as Minnesota takes a timeout. But the 24th championship game, you'll be right here next to me at VFN headquarters calling the game. We're excited about that.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be so fun.
It's always great when you get a chance to call the game side by side.
And the steak dinner you're taking me out for afterward?
Absolutely. Treat you like a king. Your wife's on her own, though. Bill Cherry on the care. I'm just kidding. It's her birthday weekend. Of course we're taking you out.
Yes. I said we haven't been to Sizzler in a long time.
Oh, we don't have a Sizzler out here.
I don't even know if they're still around.
I don't either. You got to take you to a local joint, local spot. That's what's about. No timeouts left for Minnesota. This is their last stand, where Sin City is going to the playoffs, and Minnesota's going on the road. Robert Johnson got it. First down. Clock keeps rolling. Perfectly executed. The Sin City Samurai survive, and we're going to see him in the postseason. What a season.
Yeah, and what the offensive line and the tight ends and the wide receivers have just been blocking their tails off tonight. Great job.
Sin City at Albuquerque in the first round. Minnesota's got to go to Carolina. That is not your typical 12-5 matchup in the bracket, Charles. All of these matchups in the first round, it's anybody's game. It really is.
Yeah, it's going to be wild playoffs.
Mike's flaunting in the chat that he makes dinner for Gerald and his whole family every week. I'm glad you don't live that close, Charles. You wouldn't like my cooking.
All I got was water.
That is true. You did come over every week, and all you did get was, Mike is just overly hospitable.
Get out.
I hate it when people are nicer than me. It just makes me look bad.
Time for the magic to happen. Get out.
Sin City's taking knees. Charles, another great season. I know we got a couple of playoff games to call, but another successful Monday night spectacular slate. Thanks for being here with me every week, bud.
Oh, it was definitely a pleasure. It was fun, man. Many laughs, many great games. And I hope we keep that going in the playoffs. It's going to start off with a barn burner. That's going to be great.
Final score, Minnesota 17 and Sin City 30. We've got post-game stats on the way, players of the game, all that good stuff, and then we will send it over to Tyler and Curtis to break down that first-round playoff matchup. Looking over all the final stats here, Charles, who's your player of the game?
Scar Patterson started off on fire at that first half. I'm tempted to give it to him. 110.9 QBR, 2 touchdowns. 207. Man, it's. I'm going to give it to the offensive line.
That's
fair. They just really set the tone. Set the tone, and they were giving great. As you said, they were popping open the A gap for Johnson, Lee, and Cherry, and great.
Minnesota's Derek Meerkat, 19 total tackles officially. That's great. Kanye Rockefeller, got to give a shout out. 7 tackles, a sack, a pass deflection, a pick tonight as well with 2 TFLs. That's a wrap for us, but Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk have your Wild Card Weekend playoff preview coming up right here on the Virtual Football Network. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
And with that, welcome into the Monday Night Spectacular post-game report as we finish off the regular season with a game that ended up being less of a clunker than we thought it might be, as the Sin City Samurai hold on to a 20-point halftime lead to finish out the game and win 30-17. They move into the playoffs, and that knocks out, unfortunately, Florida, and it will send Minnesota on the road to Carolina. We'll go over playoff matchups in a bit, but let's talk about how this game ended. Minnesota tried to make a fight of it, Tyler.
Yes, and they just didn't have enough. I mean, it was all indicative of the final drive down near the red zone and two similar passes to the back of the end zone, which went just errantly. And the only thing I have to say is, Minnesota, you blew it. And you gift the Denver Nightwings the Central Division in a remarkable turnaround for the Nightwings. It is full credit to them. The one thing for me, the Minnesota's scenarios coming into tonight, again, could either have been the 5th seed if they played up to their potential, or the 12th seed if they just said, we don't care about the division. We don't care about, our 4P of the Central Division. Could have been 5, but no, we'll just lie down. You're just like the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're playing down to your competition. Minnesota, come on, man. This is ridiculous. And full credit to Sin City. They knew they had to come in and play, and they played like it. Minnesota did not. That's all what happened, and then the game was over in the first quarter. It's just not the game Minnesota would have wanted, and Minnesota played like every single other Minnesota sports team, and I'm ashamed. Even players who play as Minnesota in a college football franchise, you choked. So hopefully you don't choke in the postseason. And look, you're playing Carolina on the road in Carolina.
Well, luckily for them, they don't have to play Michigan State, so there's that.
Oh my gosh.
little SFL CFB dynasty callback there as Tyler loses to Sparty. But yeah, no, big time game for Sin City. They came through, and like you said, they realized they needed to win. They pulled out all the stops against a Minnesota team that, quite frankly, they didn't have to win. And it's kind of maybe a debatable thing as to who maybe they wanted to play. Do they want to play Florida at home? Don't get me wrong, I'm sure they want a home game, but Florida's a dangerous team right now. And then the other side of the coin is, well, we could have Carolina at their place. Carolina has also been very good at home this season, I should say. And so you kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you're Minnesota, they essentially let the cards fall where they fall, and they had a much better second half than they did a first half. No doubt about that, but it still wasn't enough to take down a very hot Sin City team. But yeah, that wraps up the 150th game and final game of the SFL's 24th regular season. It has been a marathon, not a sprint. No doubt about that. We started this back in January was the first game of the new season, and here we are now 3 months later, and we're getting to the end. So let's, without further ado, talk about the playoff matchups to be come wildcard weekend that starts in about 5 days' time. We start with the first game. First show, I should say. It's an hour pregame show, the Matt Wilson SFL kickoff show with Mike Daggs and Gerald Smith. That is happening at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. That is immediately followed by the first game of the wild card, called by Cameron Irvine and Charles Doherty, who you just heard. They have the Sin City Samurai taking on the Albuquerque Adams. That should be a fun one. Albuquerque, very tough at home. Just ask Fort Worth about that, and they'll tell you everything you need to hear. We'll go to the last two games in a second. Let's talk about these first two. Tyler, break down Sin City, who we just saw, and the Albuquerque Adams.
Look, if Sin City comes in and plays like they did tonight against Albuquerque here on Saturday, we're looking at a pretty decent upset to begin the weekend, because Sin City looks hot. They look like Canton from just a season ago. This Samurai club, if it all depends, and if they can get this offense cooking like they have done for their first for these 7 wins, can they turn it into an win on the road when they need it against Albuquerque. Albuquerque reeling from a nail-biting finish. It's just their offense could get going on the road. Maybe Albuquerque's able to cook something up at home, but it's going to be pretty tough against a very hot Samurai team who, breathing a sigh of relief after coming off the win here tonight. And then Bossier City and Denver, a crucial matchup for both squads. Both squads doing phenomenal throughout the regular season. Bossier City back into the postseason with a restructured team after a couple of key departures in the offseason, but they're right back where they believe they should be, and they're right here. Denver, this is the upstart team. This is the team now with a Central Division title to their name. Can they maintain this excellent form, the form that has got them to the postseason here against Denver? It's going to be fun to see what O'Shaughnessy can do against that talented Bossier City defense.
That'll be fun. Yeah, Denver has been kind of a lot of popular Cinderella picks since the beginning of the season. They've had their afterburners on since the word go, and to see them in this spot back in the playoffs, the SFL is a better place when the Night Wings are performing well. So that's a really good thing. Going into the latter half of the wild card weekend, we start on Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern with Fort Worth and Houston. Let's break that one down.
I mean, the South Division gets another spicy contest. And again, if it hasn't been said already, first time in SFL history, an entire division makes the postseason, and it's all indicative here. And we'll have at least one South Division not going forward into the quarterfinals, and this is the game that does it in Houston. A much better showing this season than in seasons past. Another team that has really turned things around and has seen teams like Arizona and Florida, more on the wayside due to different circumstances and what have you. But Houston taking full advantage and doing what many in their camp have said they've needed to do for many seasons. I know Mike St. Green and Damon Simeon will be very happy that they're here, but playing against a tough Fort Worth Toros team that kept Albuquerque from taking their first South Division title in very close quarters conflict. And a nail biter again. Last night, Houston's got their work cut out for them. The Toros, who need to have a better game on the road than they have this season, have a test which will see them up against their old rivals.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one, no doubt about that, especially after the game that Fort Worth just played against Albuquerque. But you put DR Sim in the background, or backfield, I should say. You have Josh Slapp back there, who's been performing at an elite level all season long. That is an offense that is going to be fun to watch against the Fort Worth defense, who has a good offense of themselves with Cade Stevens, Stephen Hacker, and all them on the wide receiving core. So that's going to be something to watch on that side. And then the final game, Minnesota travels to Carolina. We'll break this one down with as little bias as possible. Minnesota travels to Carolina to take on the Skyhawks in David A. Richardson Memorial. This is going to be a fun one as Carolina comes through with a franchise record in wins, and Minnesota reeling off the loss to Sin City, but looking to answer big time against the Skyhawks.
Toros and Headhunters game. That's Jacob Clear and DJ Kilganon. The call for the Carolina-Minnesota game. Ramos Lynn and Brett Solberg on that call. And I'll tell you what, if we're going to be unbiased, I know for certain that Ramos and Brett will give everybody on that field over in Carolina. They will cut no corners, and they will be just as harsh as we're going to be. For Carolina, I outlined my point in the Streets Are Talking Discord channel, and the big thing is Carolina realistically is not a different team than they were last season. We really haven't punched above our weight at all this season. It's going to come down to what we can do against on the given day. And with Minnesota, what kind of team are we going to see out of Minnesota? Are we going to see this lackluster, lackadaisical style of offense that doesn't come alive into the second half? Or are we going to see a Minnesota team that is going to play tough and hard like we know they can? It's not a question of if, it's a question of when will Minnesota show up. And for Carolina, I could say the same thing. Yeah. Are we going to be able to get this ground game going, which has been anemic at times and dynamic at others? So realistically, this is a 5-12 matchup that could really go either way because the offenses are so hot and cold, yes and no. They're like a teenager that can't decide what to wear. That's exactly what these two teams are.
I can't believe you just quoted the song. You didn't actually sing the song. Anyway,
I'm not broadcasting. I don't have a Mark Lopez bingo quote.
Oh, okay. I got you. But yeah, the Minnesota, you have Colin Hart. Carolina's been good at stopping the run most of the season. They have Johnny Reno. The secondary's played, for the most part, fairly well. They've been able to force turnovers, talking about Carolina. On the other side, Marcus Dunhill is a very Jekyll and Hyde type of quarterback. He's either really on, or which is not a majority of the time, or he is off with some spurts of greatness. So this needs to be the best Marcus Dunhill that we've seen in a Carolina uniform for that game to be as deep in favor of Carolina as maybe Carolina wants it to be. Otherwise, we are looking at a close game. I don't think there's any doubt about that. You have the Meerkats, the defensive end, and the secondary. You have the all of the wide receivers. Jay Taylor is going to be somebody I mentioned there. They're going to try to utilize him as much as possible, especially over the middle of the field. This is going to be a 5-12 matchup that's going to be about as close as they come. No doubt about it. So a lot of good stuff coming from Wildcard Weekend. It starts out in 5 days' time at 5:30 Eastern. Again, the SFL kickoff show with Mike Daggs and Gerald Smith going to get us going as we start out the SFL postseason. But for the regular season, let's draw curtains. For Cameron Irvine, Charles Doherty, everybody in stats, Ron Haynes, Eddie Gage, for Tyler Falk, I'm Chris Curtis, saying goodbye and good night for the 24th regular season in SFL history. It's time for the playoffs. Tune in Saturday. We will see you then.